In the bottom left for this game 3 as player 1, we have Saykoya playing Emmerich. They are playing on Headland to Deadland version 1.5. In the top right, also playing Emmerich, we have RedJams, also known as the Steam handle Neg Everyday. They will be doing more or less the same opening. They're both going the side route. Sometimes you'll see people go through the middle. And yeah, just pushing up the center right now. This is like very standard opening fare. They're both going to go for the towers. They're both going to go for these villages. Swords coming through. We aren't going to see anything like so there's an alternate opening you can do here where you go around to your barracks, you throw a wagon down, and then you like move your commander around to like mess with your opponent's opening. But neither of them are going for the wagon opening. They're both just going for the center route. I'm interested to see when or if they actually capture the hideout. I think the hideout's really good on this map. I think thieves are really strong. Especially in an army with a commander like Emmerich, where you can throw a crystal down and then that thief is actually like quite good at body blocking when it's got +3 defense. The back capture coming out. Not going for these villages. I guess he's worried that Emmerich's going to come up and just knock them down. So RedJams is just abandoning this left flank. And instead going to focus on pushing on the right. We could even see something where the tower gets captured by the opposing person. I don't know if that will happen in this instance, but it is a possibility. Okay, Saykoya gonna pull back. He captured this village, so RedJams is gonna be able to sword hit this and then Emmerich hit it to knock it down. And that will give him groove pretty quickly. Saykoya going for mage, and mages are great for a bunch of reasons. They're great at fighting this tower up here. They're good at moving around quickly to do captures. And their other really good strength is being able to heal the commander for tempo. So that's a really good option to back up a commander. I think he needs to capture this tower. Otherwise he's just gonna get overrun. I mean, he could do something like build a ballista up here, and that's a very RedJams kind of move to make. People in chat talking about Emmerich. Emmerich is very buff. People like Emmerich. He definitely has spent a lot of his life hitting the gym. I can tell that for sure. Oh, so he's just gonna heal and not waste. I guess you could say waste a sword hit, but not gonna sacrifice sword life to get the decap. I mean, this does mean that there's 100 more income coming for Saykoya for next return. Both players really skipping this hideout so far. Just putting a lot of pressure on their opponents. Ooh, interesting. I mean, there's no punish on the sword for it, so this can just walk back if he needs to. Got spears coming just to, you know, try and fight this off. Balloon comes out with another spear. So Saykoya's going for a very... I mean, Saykoya using balloons with Emmerich is very, like... A balloon under an Emmerich crystal is incredibly difficult to kill. A witch crit won't do it, a mage crit won't do it. I think it's something like an archer and a mage hit combined won't do it. So, balloon's very tanky. RedJams responding with his own balloon. And one difference we're going to see here is RedJams is going to have crystal out much sooner. Saykoya will have like a slight gold advantage just because he had that village for a couple turns. Can Emmerich can actually clear the sword if it stays to hit again. So this mage is going to be able to do some crits if it wants to. I'm really curious what's going to come down on this side. Runs the sword back, doesn't want it to... Oh, the mage can kill it though, which is less than ideal. Ooh, Saykoya's just walking forward straight into this. And one thing that he can do is he can knock this village down. Right, that's guaranteed next turn, or you can kill a sword. So he's going to have his own crystal pretty soon. Builds a balloon of his own. Archer comes out. Are we going to see the balloon move forward slightly, drop the spear, and then pick up the archer next turn? Personally, I think that would be a good play. We'll see. Okay, moves the spear over to the side. He's trying to block Emmerich from being too aggressive into his stronghold, and recognizes that this stronghold's a little bit open at the moment. You know, the balloon and the spears are going to come, so that will slow Emmerich down, but he has his army nicely backing this up. Emmerich saving crystal for the moment. He doesn't need to use it just yet. He did have the option of putting a lot of extra pressure on this side of the map, but he still would have lost his mage if he'd done it. But the sword wouldn't have done that much either. So, yeah. Not going for an aggressive play, just doing more positioning. He's just going to threaten this side of the map some more. This is a very brave move to do with the mage, but he's going to surround it with swords, so yeah, he's got his front up. He knows that, yeah, sure, the sword can run in and hit, but that's it. Like, he'll just tear apart the sword for the sword getting very little damage. That said, Saykoya, he did take the hideout, so thieves are now an option. And actually, of all the things, it makes it harder to push in, because, you know, if you capture this village, for example, like, the thief can just decap it. And RedJams responding to this pressure up here with the aggressive positioning of Emmerich, with his own aggressive position of Emmerich, and he's got a large force behind it. He's got double balloon, he's got his own archer coming in. And it's like almost a game of chicken. The big thing here though is that Emmerich can no longer push into this village. he will straight up die if that happens. Something that can happen though is he's left these villages completely unguarded. Ooh, he goes for the village anyway. And he's creating this line of swords, so there can't be a surround. He can safely move back if he wants to. Alright, hits this village with the injured sword. It does mean that... Oh, this is quite clever, because he could just threaten to take these villages down. But no, he's going to move back instead. He's just going to poke this for the moment. He can threaten to capture this without having to worry too much. And he's got one spear that could potentially back up. So like, let's say a lone sword comes back to try and defend. Like the spear will threaten the sword. So he could do the decap with this sword, capture with this sword. Spear comes in to defend on this side or down here. So multiple... Honestly, like you couldn't even defend. You couldn't send two swords down there to do that. The spear is just too strong. So this small force here is threatening this village and potentially threatening more villages if it's left alone. And this formation from Saykoya is really good as well. You know, he could run the archer forward and poke this. Really hard to move and hit the archer in return just because there's so much terrain. Got these forests, you got these river tiles. You attack in, like let's say the archer runs in, shoots this sword. If the sword runs in and hits back, it's hitting from a river and it's going to be pretty heavily injured. Let's just take a look at the income. So Saykoya ends his turn on a lead. He has a nice unit lead. The hideout does make that bigger than you would think because it counts as a unit. So he's only got 2 actual units more than RedJams does. How's this going to play out? Okay, moves an archer into a good position with the balloon to back up. Cannot be reached by mage. Cannot be reached by the archer. No. 3. And in theory, actually, RedJams could put his own counter pressure up here. But this village is quite healthy. So I don't think that is as likely to happen. They are just playing a really big positional game so far. Oh, he's gonna try and go for it. Gets a decent roll there. So this should go down? Yeah. Okay, so he's doing his own counter pressure on this position. Gets a balloon out, so we could see these spears be moved down into like this kind of area and go for a flank. So they're going for the... We saw this yesterday in one of the matches. I think it was Mahinder versus Timekey, where they created this kind of like V formation. And like this kind of V formation as well. With the commanders in the middle. So it is going to come down to like who can kind of collapse on like their opponent's single line more efficiently. Like this army could come down and hit this. This army could do the same. And like this isn't quite close enough to like really punish that. But on the other hand, like this is really far away as well. So this army could come in, collapse on this front, do a lot of damage.
This should protect us.
And we see the shield coming down. So these are forest tiles now, these are mountains. This is a plains tile basically. And this is a big wall of balloon that cannot be killed. it would take something special indeed to do that. Okay, so we see RedJams has basically abandoned this corner. Gonna get captured. It's a little awkward to capture that with the injured sword, just because the sword doesn't really have a good place to heal from. It could heal from the tower. There's not really much pressure up here, so you can just run back and heal if you wanted to. Okay, what else? The archer jumped into the balloon too. Where are these gonna go? Are they gonna go up here? Are they gonna go down here? The one thing about this crystal position is that there isn't really enough space to jump from it to the enemy headquarters. So RedJams doesn't really have too much of a position to push using the crystal. Alright, he goes down here. He's gonna defend his HQ a bit more. He could have gone up here and punished this, but decides he would rather have a kind of strong front and push up, rather than like go for a kind of like more separated V formation. And this is going to get really funny in a moment, because they're going to have, probably going to have crystals overlapping each other and just like turning this into a meat grinder. And you don't really want to be the one who attacks in as much, because the archer crit will return. Like more units will be able to like run and hit. But that said, I mean, something that I didn't really note as much is that there are two dogs here which have a lot more mobility for attacking and will do things like set up dog crits. Whereas, and he's got this witch as well, so you know, you've got the archers, the dogs, and the witch, and those are really nice together. Second archer comes out. Could even see a third archer. No, goes for another dog. I like this as well. More dog crits are available, more mobility in your army. Yeah, if RedJams wants to attack in, he is not going to be able to use the benefit of the crystal as much to do it. Whereas Saykoya can now say, I'm just going to throw my crystal down in a really good spot where it will do, where I can attack into you and have the benefit of the defense. You know, he's got double archer now, he's got a witch which ignores the crystal. I mean, even things like, if you can get an archer close enough, it can pick off the crystal from range, and then you just attack in. I mean, something to note as well is like a ballista could come out, and that threatens the crystal like really massively. Could see something like a thief to come out here would be really strong. Run that into the balloon and then fly over to this side of the map, and then all of a sudden, like, hey, this army's really out of position to punish a thief. I'm very surprised that sword didn't hit that village. That is 100 income that could have been denied. And, you know, you potentially capture it the next turn. Maybe that's a slight misplay, maybe it's on purpose. Maybe he's saving it so Emmerich can be in a good position to knock it down next turn. Actually, that's more what it's looking for. Like, he's got 2 balloons full of units. He's probably just going to shift his whole army up to this front. Basically, just let Saykoya have this. Yep, he's saving that for Emmerich. And given the amount of balloons here, I'd actually like to see maybe another mage come out, or 2 mages. Like, there are 2 ways you deal with balloons. You you use, like, I would say archers, and you just pick away all the units around the balloons. Or you use mages and clear them. And I actually think the archer solution is better, personally. Right, heals this sword with the very injured village. I mean, this, like, you could save it for a sword suicide later. Like, it has cool options. I guess he could heal off this next turn. Saykoya. Like, RedJams saving that village to be hit by Emmerich. But this crystal hasn't really done a huge amount. It's like kind of slowed this push down, but he really just wants to get a second crystal up. I mean, you know, like, you can technically be in a position where you throw heals down on it, but Emmerich's just saving his crystal, which means that, okay, he just ignores this for the moment and, like, goes around it. We've got more archers coming in. They're ready to hit anything that's in front of that crystal. They can hit up here as well. And archers, like, they do a lot of damage to swords under crystals. An archer plus a sword will kill a sword, even if it's under a crystal. Like, let's take a look. It does 75. Or it might not kill, but I guess, like, with a witch it will kill. Another mage. 2 mages come out and another balloon. And I don't think a single unit has died this game. They're just playing this very slow positional game. Emmerich takes out the village. Gonna end the turn with 80%, so that's another 2 turns until his crystal becomes available again. But Saykoya, he's just gonna kill this. Like, he's in a really good position this game. He has the income lead. I mean, oh, he had it anyway, but he could, in theory, what he could do. Oh no, Emmerich can't reach this. For a moment, like, if this was there, he could run Emmerich into a balloon. Balloon him over here, sword crit this village to take it down. But not gonna do that. And is RedJams, I think he's gonna get his army back into position, so if these archers walk forward and hit, like, he's not just gonna lose the crystal straight away. But, or he can at least counterattack if he tries to push and kill the crystal. Because that crystal, like, if the dog wanted to, it could run forward and kill it next turn. Like, you've got a witch hex and a dog. That will do it quite easily. Got all these spears that can push in as well. So is RedJams just going to shift his whole army back here again? That is the question. And it looks like the answer to that question is yes. And this is when I think, you know, a thief would have been good. Because you then start to punish this more passive play by, like, capturing your opponent's villages with a thief. And that hits a lot harder than, say, just decapping it with something normal. Like, you're taking 300 gold away. You're giving yourself 300 gold. Oh, it's just, like, very, very positional based game. Neither player really wants to attack until they have the perfect opportunity to. It is a very, very hard style of game to play. RedJams. Not just 1 unit, 2 units above, because he hasn't captured the hideout yet. I think he should, just for the sake of it. It's very useful if you do get pushed back to be able to heal from it, if nothing else. I don't know if he pulled the trigger on attacking yet, though. He might go for it. Alright, Archer comes in. First hit goes in. Right, he's just gonna pull the trigger. Bam. There goes the crystal. And this is when you can see, like, the Archer run in, hit maybe this sword. see his own crystal get thrown down. So, you know, if a counterattack does come in, he'll have a full health crystal to defend himself. And if he throws, like, let's say he walks over here. Oh no, he's gonna walk there. Ooh, that's a choice location. Because even if he blocks this, like, that's very vulnerable. Like, you're only on a forest there. Like, that would have been a mountain. Suicides can come in, potentially. You've got this river tile to, like, throw multiple swords at. Like, this sword can suicide from it, this sword can suicide from it. Double archer to, like, pick off. So he could, in theory, pick off the crystal as well. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this. If the balloon comes down, would that be enough? This has gone a lot more awkward. I think Emerald here, Crystal here is a much safer option. Saykoya's going to think about it. He does have this balloon, so he could just throw stuff in front of Emmerich on these tiles here. This is a very nice formation. The crystal goes down. This is very, very strong still. That sword is in range of these dogs, which is a little unfortunate. Like, if there's a big attack coming in, like, you're leaving, like, this exposed to, like, the furthest back unit. But, you know, these could also be used to attack in, so I guess it's kind of useful to have it there. Oh, he's going to leave Emmerich open on, like, potentially 3 sides. He should have put something in that tile. Like, even if he just thrown, like, a sword into it, means that you have to waste quite a lot to kill a unit there. Like, maybe he throws the witch in and hexes just to force. No, he's just gonna use Emmerich as bait. I think Saykoya might be dead. I think he's slightly overestimating just how durable his army or his commander is going to be. You've got a witch hex, you've got double sword suicide from the river. Two archers could reach him as well. And it's only technically a forest. Barrett could come down. And RedJams, since he moved there, has just been sitting and calculating whether or not that is going to be a lethal. Because that will definitely die on the attack. That will also definitely die on the attack. And these do what, like average 15? On a forest, that's like what? Average 10-ish? Maybe 8 or 9? No, actually it would be about 10. So suicide. Witch hex, you're on 70, you can clear that dog. You hit from 3 sides. 1, 2... Oh, actually nothing else can reach from the left. So you're only using that to suicide 2 units. But you could hit from 2 more sides. You're taking him down to like 70%. You could do something like you put a dog in a balloon and then have that there, and then you've got 2 dog crits afterwards. I don't know, actually. That becomes really complicated. He might live, although a double archer. He's gonna go for it. First one does 9%, second one does 11. So 20% exactly. Witch Hex comes down. 70%. Archer crit hits for... So he was on 70. That crit for 14%. That's a big crit. Spear crit can come down, like he puts the balloon here, drops the spear here. The spear would go in and archer follow up. Dogs are going to be used to clear this dog, so this second dog could come in and crit. Spear crit 32%. 24. Ooh, another decent roll with the archer. But is there actually enough? He might live. I don't think a mage will do it. No! He lives on 3%. I actually think there was a slightly more optimal way of doing that. Where you would drop a dog here? The balloon, like, that balloon could have dropped the dog there. This balloon could have dropped the spear here. Or this balloon could have dropped the spear there. And he would have had a dog crit instead of a mage hit. And that might have been the difference. But this is a very complicated lethal. Saykoya playing an incredibly brave game. And he, funnily enough, he has groove again. And he can... This balloon's full health. He could just literally just run back. I don't think a witch would catch him. And even if it could, you would just throw a mage heal on Emmerich just to be safe. But now... all of this army can counterattack underneath a crystal. So, you know, these mages are going to be able to crit. And Saykoya has put himself in an incredibly ballsy position that will pay off. He just needs Emmerich to run. I don't think it's worth trying to do something like go for a lethal and counter. I think you just kill all of this army. Like, this entire front row is going to die. Things like this balloon can get picked off easily. Moves the balloon out the way. I think, yeah, he's just going to start clearing what he can. Might even drop like a mage heal on this. Actually, if you could reach with like this back mage, you drop like a mage heal, crystal, spear, Emmerich. I wonder if he's going to go for his own lethal. That would be really funny if he tried to go for it. But honestly, you just clear as much army as you can. He could kill 6 or 7 units here pretty easily. Like, he's already killed, what, 1? Damaged another. This spear runs forward, kills that. This spear runs forward, badly injures the mage. I don't know if it kills it. Then this spear kills this mage. And you can just keep going and going and going. Then you've got... You kind of want to save the archers to, like, hit later on in this. I mean, Emmerich needs to run. I don't know why he's still there. Maybe he's waiting to, like, move this mage here to heal. So he could triple heal. and then have Emmerich run, and then have the crystal on 100% again. But I don't blame Saykoya for taking his time on this turn, because it's really important. Like, there's a ton of options as well. Like, he could have this mage run up and hit this balloon instead. Alright, he's going to heal with this mage. That makes sense. Emmerich's just going to get out of there. Like, you just take Emmerich and you put him back here and say, good job, Emmerich, you did well. And yeah, like, he's going to pick off more stuff. That spear had full health there. This spear can crit, this spear can crit. Ooh, he's even going to pick off that. So that puts a lot of these swords in the way, though. I don't know quite how I feel about that. Like, you could have just done that with a single spear. And that also eliminates, like, this would have been a mage crit on this spear, which would have instantly killed it. And you don't kill mages with spear crits, like, you just injure them really badly. Okay. And like, honestly, even if he's not being super efficient here damage-wise, like, it doesn't really matter that much. He's still going to do a ridiculous amount of damage this turn. Kills a balloon. Like, he's picked off a whole bunch of these frontline units. He can put his balloon above a forest. This is a this is a forest in the sky for the balloon. And that balloon is not going to die, so this is very safe. The crystal's on full health, so like, it will take multiple archer hits to kill it. Puts Emmerich here. I like this positioning. He's still close enough to the front lines that he can drop a crystal if he really needs to guarantee a lethal. And he can drop more mage heals on himself. Like, build another mage here so he can heal it next turn. And let's just take a look at the unit count. That's a big lead. A really big lead. Before the unit builds even came out, that was a big lead. And yeah, like, you're going to hit back with these two archers, but I think Saykoya has got this one in the bag. And this, like, if I look back to game 1, RedJams went for a lethal that didn't work out. And actually was a double sword suicide as well. So... Ooh, another dog comes out. Fair enough. I mean, I would have thought it would be a mage just so he could heal if he needed to, but... isn't going to go for it. But yeah, there was, in game 1, a double sword suicide from RedJams that didn't lead to a lethal. And are we about to see the Groove of War 3 champion go out in the round of 16? 9th place is very respectable. And like, if I look at the people that have already either gone through to the top 8 or on the edge of going through to the top 8, like, we're gonna have 8 really strong players for this Groove of War 5. Like, is RedJams gonna pull something out of the bag? I mean, there's even little things here though, like this archer cannot reach the front line. Okay, so he's gonna start trying to clear units. He'll do what he can. But there isn't an Emerald Crystal, so like these injured mages aren't going to be able to do big counter-attack damage with a crit. Like his spears are in a slightly awkward position as well. He doesn't really... like this balloon's a bit awkward for moving a spear into the right place. Like Emmerich is in a position where he could suffer double mage crit next turn and get hit by 2 archers and just pummeled by units. Like a sword could run up and suicide as well. 2 swords could suicide ahead of this actually. You would need to move this spear out of the way, but oof. Like Witch Hex comes down. And at this point I think he's just weakening up units that will potentially be used to hit Emmerich back. But the thing is, like, Saykoya doesn't need to go for an Emmerich kill next turn. In fact, that's probably a really bad idea. What he should do is he should just kill more units. This dog can reach there next turn. This sword will be able to reach one of these spears or one of these archers next turn as well. So, like, you can start picking off these. These do a lot of damage. These are the big damage dealers in the army right now. Okay, so RedJams is kind of blocking a bit more. He is going to try and fight this one out. He's gonna like try and grind through this, but there's still a crystal that this army is underneath. There's still things like a lot of mage crits can just come down, like rain down on this army. Okay, the balloon's like in a really annoying spot. Like he's gonna have to use like a witch to clear that. Although I think a witch hex would just do a much better job of damaging this army overall. The one thing RedJams has going for him is it's kind of really clumped up, especially with this crystal, with all these balloons. So it's hard to like maneuver your army the way you want to maneuver it. I mean, but that said, like... oh, is he actually going to go for a lethal on Emmerich? I don't know if this is a wise move. I think you just keep killing more and more units. Don't go for anything fancy. Just clear the army that you can. I mean, like, I guess Archer crit will clear this pretty easily, so... I don't know if that's worth it. I guess, like... now he guarantees the Archer crit. But, yeah, I mean, this is a mountain. Like, you're not going to suicide stuff from here. Like, you could mage crit, but... I don't think it's worth it. I think you just clear as much army out of here as you can. And go for it. But, I mean, Saykoya could try and go for a lethal. Like, he's got an Emmerich open on 4 sides. But, okay, he's gonna try and go for it. 59%. Another spear crit, 37. Emmerich could move into a position where sword crits could start coming down again. He can still suicide this mage. That would be a mage crit as well. Although, would that actually suicide? I don't think it would. Oh, that's a really big archer hit. That did a lot of damage. Okay, yeah, this is over now. 6%, a sword will do it. I think he's going to move Emmerich into position just for the sword crit, though. Yeah, and yeah, as long as he doesn't misclick, this is over. And that is Saykoya taking it over RedJams to win the round of 16 match for the European bracket, or I guess for the GMT bracket, I should say. He goes forward into the round of 8, taking it in an incredibly nail-biting match. That was so... he could have just died. Like, it could have just been RedJams gets the high rolls he needs and, you know, Saykoya's dead. But no, plays an incredibly brave maneuver. RedJams takes a bait that could have killed Saykoya straight up and loses so much of his army for it.